this water. Okay, microphone check 1, 2. There we go. Thank you so much, Mr. Snoopy. Like to shout out to Jackie Gaines, Mr. Snoopy in the house. If you're in the house, put a 1 or 2 in the chat if you like, or a comment. Welcome yourself. Happy Friday, everyone. As you can see, I love to fish. I love fishing. It gives me peace. It gives me resolve. It gives me relaxation. Um, it's just fun. It's real fun. And you get to be out there in nature, smelling fresh air. Well, depending where you're fishing, of course. But you get my point. So I started watching this fisherman on YouTube, and he fished. And let me tell you something. I know what I'm doing. I know I've been fishing for a long time, but he was so exciting because of the ways he used to fish. Let me go ahead and put him up on screen for a minute. Ooh, I got another one. Look at that. Uh oh. Uh oh. Let me get him in. Let me get him in. Let me get him in. Here we go. Uh oh. He putting up a good old fight. He putting up a good old fight. Let me see if I can get him all the way in. There we go. Yeah, I love me some fishing. I think this is the one I lose because he put up a good old fight. Did I get him in the net? Let's see if I get him in the net. Uh oh. Dang, I'm having a hard time with this one. There we go. Okay, I got him. Okay, so let me pause that. Let me bring this up. There he is, the Hood Fisherman. The Hood Fisherman. I mean, he's trying his best to change his life around, and he's doing it in a big way. I mean, he's playing with the pros now. And he has that natural knack. He has that natural knack of just knowing where the fish are, what they want, okay, and how to get them. If he lives another 5 to 10 years, he is going to be an amazing pro fisherman. I guarantee you not. He just has that knack. He just knows where to cast the bait or the lure or the soft bait, and he knows how to bring them in. He just has that knack. You are so right, Mistress Newbie. Those are some beautiful. Those the fish are beautiful. Okay, so anyway, he's got the gold teeth and everything like that, but he just wants to fish now. That's all he wants to do. Anyway, welcome to this live stream of Crabs in a Bucket, because usually what happens when you want to escape from Blackistan, guess what? Crabs in a bucket. So let's listen. Let's see what's going on here.
Yo, what it is, it's your boy No Santa Fe Gorilla, and today we got the popular fisherman hood fishing.
Let me see. If the volume is cool, let me know. If you can hear the volume okay for the video, let me know. I'm still gonna pop it up a little bit. Give it a little volume. Here we go.
And it was reportedly shot in his hometown in Fort Myers. Now this is crazy, you feel me? Because this man don't rap. To my knowledge, he's not doing no gangster type of stuff. He's just doing hood fishing, enjoying fishing. And what black man down south, Louisiana, Baton Rouge, don't like fishing and getting the catfish? getting the gators, you feel me? Getting the bass, you feel me? Yeah, getting them shiners, you feel me?
Yeah.
You know, we like fish, we like frying it up, having the fish fried with the family. Y'all
Mhm.
know how we coming. So, you know, it's sad to hear that dude was shot. But whenever you're successful, you living your life, or you living happy, a lot of folks say happy for you. I don't know what the situation was surrounded, but this goes for anybody. It doesn't matter if you're a YouTuber, it doesn't matter if you're a gangster, it doesn't matter if you're a rapper. If you're successful, you're happy in life. Do not come back to your hometown, because there's a lot of people that didn't do what you did and did not make it out, or are living a lavish lifestyle as you. And so
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's who's to say whether he's living a lavish lifestyle, but to him, he's living a lavish lifestyle. He's living his dream. He is fishing. He is having a good time fishing. You know, I mean, that's what I'm talking about here. That's I mean, and there's more to life than just doing hood shit. Let's put it that way. Here we go.
So when it comes to your life, when it comes for them feeling some type of way, they not gonna treat it with care. They gonna try to end you because they not you. So you know, I hope dude get better. You feel me? I hope it's not a situation where you know he lose his life. But dude's dope. His videos and content is dope, and it has
Yeah.
nothing to do with negativity whatsoever. You
Right.
know, it's hood fishing. He do his thing, and you know, dude does his thing. So when it's all said and done, and it all put in place of perspective, when you get a good place in your life, do not return back to your hometown. Leave your hometown alone. You want to show love or do something, have a carrier do something for a food drive or something. You ain't got to be
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this guy is talking right. I mean, the thing is this the hood for many people can turn into a prison in a way, an emotional prison. Um, Basically, the thing is this: when you get out, get out. When you get out, get out. Mr. Snoopy says, "I haven't been back to the degenerate town I came from since graduating high school, and I am 44." Yeah, when you got to get out, you got to get out. You got to get out. Let's keep it going. Here we go.
there in person because folks is hating and they don't want to see us win. It's your boy No Santa Fe. Run out my salute.
Y'all, welcome to Crabs in a Bucket.
Oh my God.
I mean, he's out there fishing with Bass Pros. Oh man, this just pumps me up.
That is a giant catfish. Look at that, man.
Now accused of shooting and killing a man in 2017. Kendall Curry is now charged with second-degree murder in the death of Marvin Peacock.
Wow. See, this is listen close. Here we
This
go.
red car, that's the car that crossed the median. And he came running over to my car and said, really, he seemed very panicked and he seemed very afraid. And he said, call 911, please call 911.
Tonight, we're hearing from a nurse who jumped in to help a local social media star who was shot in downtown Fort Myers.
Myers police say someone shot Bailey's car. He veered over the median and crashed into a truck. Now, tonight, detectives are looking for whoever was in this Ford Expedition.
The thing about it is this: you might get away today, but you might not get away tomorrow. It's best to try to live an honest life out the gate, because your past will hit you at the very worst time. But hey.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a point. Tonight we are talking about Raheem, not the well cultured, amazing football coach for the Atlanta football team, the Hood Fisherman. Here we go.
That's what they call karma, right? Fam, today we're gonna head to Florida. We're gonna shine light on a popular Florida social media star who seemed to be ambushed broad daylight while driving his car before crashing. Thank God a fan had noticed him and took him to the very first police officer he saw. It seemed he in a wheelchair right now, with his mother recently speaking up, but you'll later hear from. But let's keep it real for a second. Somebody take the first chance they get to touch you, broad daylight, and risk they self being caught. You done did something. But long story short, Revenge don't have a date on it. We know that, especially when you got a case like today, where you helped do a crime with your buddy, get caught, but only your buddy doing time for it. Not to mention, you was with this man who allegedly rode on y'all quote-unquote ops that started from a beef you had, which we'll later discuss.
And that's the funny thing is that beefs are the worst. They're the dumbest way to die. I swear to God. Beefs are the dumbest things. They are it's just crazy to me. So he's trying to get out, he's out. Wow, look at that. Let me bring this down for a minute. He catching fish. He loving to catch fish. And it's funny because this guy right here says, social media star shot on the highway for telling on the highway for telling on friends who protected him. The people who shot him weren't protecting him. That's the funny thing. I looked through the videos. Nobody was trying to protect him. So let's see. Let me see where this is. Okay, let me go right here.
Because you all trying to search me. The detective had informed Bailey they were not trying to search him if a service of a search warrant was completed, and his DNA sample has been lawfully collected. Bailey asks why the search warrant was obtained, to which detective had pointed to a copy of a search warrant where it clearly listed the nature of the investigation as murder. Bailey argued with the police and said he knew nothing about it. He then demanded to know the details of the probable cause, allowing the approval of the search warrant to collect his DNA. The detective declined to provide details of the probable cause to Bailey and asked if he wanted to provide a statement in reference to the murder of Marvin Peacock, in which he agreed. At that point, he was read his Miranda rights. Early in the interview, visiting with his cell phone, the detectives observed him trying to record the interview and take photographs. Bailey then put the phone on the table in front of the detective. During the interview, Bailey was evasive with the answers and was extremely vague with providing details of his whereabouts the night of the murder. In addition, he made comments indicate he disliked the police, claimed the police tried to pin him in the case. His cell phone was seized, where Bailey responded, "That's effed up, that's effed up." As they enter the elevator and go to the first floor, detectives attempt to tell Bailey she must continue the investigation to verify the information provided to the point to include the information provided during the interview. Bailey would not listen and continued to curse and yell at the detective. His voice was becoming louder as he reached the first floor. Eventually, he told the detectives to walk light. Them photos that he tried to take in an interview room, Rara actually sent them on Snapchat before even making the quote, "walk light." According to the affidavit, they believe Rara was trying to get the detective lined up for investigating him by sending 8 pictures via Snapchat. On December 14, 2017, a detective had been in contact with a man by the name of Stevie Gurry, who is a friend of Rara. This contact began during a traffic stop and continued when Gurry agreed to participate in a formal interview at the Fort Myers Police Department in reference to the demise of Marvin Peacock. During the initial contact at the traffic stop, and again during a formal interview, detectives asked Gurry if he was familiar with the terms "walk light" and asked if he knows the meaning of them. Gurry confirms he knows the terms mean a person needs to watch their back and aware of their
Wow, that's deep. That's deep. Let's see what happens.
surroundings. It should be noted that during the interview, Gurry also mentioned that Rara had sent them a photo on Snapchat, specifically the photo that Bailey took of the detective in the interview room. The next week, on December 21st, 2017, the detectives end up interviewing Hood Fisherman ENT girlfriend and his baby mother, who was also the owner of the Nissan he was driving, which we'll later discuss. Jones was asked about Bailey saying "walk light" to the detective. Jones acknowledged that that phrase is a threat and said that Bailey should never have said that, and she told him such. And a week after that, at 8:45 a.m., a sergeant met with Rara in the courthouse and placed him under arrest for an active pickup request. And at that point, he was arrested in connection of Peacock Jr. But we also found the true motive on why all this occurred and who was involved and how detectives actually got their lead break. The guy that was arrested and charged with almost 2 decades in jail was Kendall James Curry. Charged.
What is going on with this dude's lips? What happened? Man, that doesn't look good. That doesn't look good. New Diamond says, "Get out and stay away." and let nobody in. Jealousy. I get nervous around black men and ghetto quiches. Danger to society. That's from Blood New Diamond. Here we go.
For second degree with the firearm.
Man now accused of shooting and killing a man in 2017. Kendall Curry is now charged with second-degree murder in the death of Marvin Peacock. Now, Curry is being held in federal custody, waiting for sentencing on additional charges. If you have any information on that homicide case, you can call Crime Stoppers at 1-800-780-TIPS.
They say on or about at around 7:32 p.m., officers were in the South Ward Village public housing facility near the intersection of Dorr Street. In a marked uniform car, officers heard around 20 to 30 gunshots near the location and immediately drove in the direction.
I mean, have you thought about it one time and said to yourself, why do we do this? His lips? What his lips? What the F going on with his hair?
To conduct further investigation. While driving forward, the officer observed a red and silver four-wheeler in the area where the gunshots were heard. It was mentioned that the four-wheeler was driving on the wrong side of the street on Edison Avenue. Due to hearing the gunshots in the area, the man on the four-wheeler ended up leaving at a high rate of speed. Authorities ended up chasing him. He was later determined to be Tyrone Hopkins. The four-wheeler ended up crashing on 2132.
I'm just laughing because, I know a very good content creator who says, watch out for Tyrone. Here we go.
Palm Avenue. After he drove the four-wheeler in the fence, Hopkins jumped off the four-wheeler and ran into the house. The officers immediately created a secure perimeter around the house before obtaining him and arresting him without any injury. After giving him his sworn statement, he agreed to talk to authorities. Hopkins confirmed that he witnessed the entire shooting/homicide offense. Hopkins confirmed that he was with the victim and several other friends at Stars Complex to attend Chucky Sunday festivals. Hopkins stated the entire group of boys he was with were all riding dirt bikes and four-wheelers. Hopkins advised that the victim was driving a dirt bike. He also stated that they all left Stars Complex at around 7:30 and
wow, this is turning into a crime story.
Drove northbound towards MLK Boulevard. Hopkins indicated that he was riding in the back of the group where he observed the suspect vehicle he described as a white four-door vehicle. Hopkins observed multiple shots fired at the victim through the rear driver's side of the vehicle. He further advised that the vehicle came to a stop. A male exited the rear driver's side, walked to the victim, and stood over the victim and continued to fire multiple shots into the victim. The male suspect then turned, walked over, and re-entered the vehicle before it sped away. Hopkins is considered a witness to the incident, and at that time, there was no indication that he had played any active role in the shooting of the victim. Hopkins was later transported to Lee County Jail to be processed and for lodging. On that day, it also mentioned on the day that Peacock Jr. lost his life, the Communications Division of Fort Myers.
Let's pause it for a minute. I mean, this no snitching thing, how's it really worked out for us in the community? It doesn't seem like it's been worked well. I mean, it probably no snitching rule probably is more powerful than most other rules in the hood, most other rules in our community. And I don't know, all other cultures, they per se snitch. In comparison, they snitch. So how's that worked out? How's the no snitching rule really worked out for us? It doesn't seem like it's really working out. It doesn't seem like it's the right thing to do for the community anyway. It works out great for the individuals who get to get away and cause more crimes because that's what they do. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think you should snitch on somebody smoking weed or jaywalking. I ain't talking about shit like that. But if somebody caused somebody some damage in some way, you would think that you would want those people who caused the damage to other community members, you would think you would want them off the streets. You would think you would want them off the streets. So why do we look so poorly at snitching? Let's break it down like this for a minute.
By definition, the original way to be labeled a snitch, first true meaning was if you along with somebody else both agree to commit a crime and you happen to get caught, but your partner happens to get away and escapes. Now that you're caught, the detective offers for you to simply name your partner in crime in return for being set free. And you happily give them his name, address, and cell number. Therefore,
I don't think it's really that simple. You usually get less time, but you get time. But let's keep it going.
Snitch. You would also be labeled a snitch if you are an informant like Eugene Roberts, who was an NYPD assigned secret agent who infiltrated the inner security detail of Malcolm X, becoming a chief in his personal security. He was also photographed giving CPR to Malcolm X's lifeless body, riddled with bullets on the day of his assassination. Today's views of snitching have vastly veered from this original meaning to where if you just simply call the cops for anything, no matter the circumstances, you risk being labeled a snitch. Now,
basically, that's one thing that we have going on in our community, and only as an exclusive to our community where cops are bad. I mean, yes, of course, there are other communities where there's a small percentage that might think that way, but I think it's safe to say that our community is the ones who feel that the most. Now, some of it's justified because we're not the best treated by law enforcement all the time. However, basically the thing is that it gets to a point where, how should I put it? That doesn't help. We have the most crime in our community, more than any other community, and we don't want to do anything about it. If you said cops are bad, but then you said, but let's make our community better, that's one thing. But y'all want to be cops are bad and then let monsters run amok in the community. So what's that? What's that? So basically, we have the no snitching culture. We have the no snitching culture. And that's a problem. Because I'm sorry, there's just not enough, officers to go around for you to call when you finally want somebody to come by to help you, especially in a community when you're surrounded by the no snitching law. It's a law. It's a law it's a law in the hood. As Jackie says, we are our own worst enemy. Yeah, we are. Unfortunately, it's that. You can blame it on, discrimination, all that other kind of stuff. That does have a factor in our community. However, the bottom line is that we are our own worst enemy. And unfortunately, it's the men that we are really our own worst enemy. It's not, who do you think is getting put down every hour by who? There aren't other cultures of men coming into our community, running us over and then putting us down every hour. It's us putting each other down every hour. So that, to me right now, my opinion is no snitching law is not really working at all in the community. Here we go.
Let's do a deeper dive into how this has changed. Ever since hip-hop has controlled Black culture as the main music influence, it's always caused confusion on being street versus a civilian and how to balance them both. In most medium to high-income communities in America, if you happen to witness a crime, you will be praised for contacting the police, resulting in getting the perpetrators arrested and convicted.
Right, exactly. That's how every other culture thinks. Every other culture. And it seems to be working for them. Seems to be working good for them. Don't you want to what do you think? Which community would you like to live in? A $400,000, $500,000, $1 million house community? Or do you want to live where you are now? Like, if you are in the hood, do you want to stay there? Are you dead set on staying there? Or would you like to live in a better community? And what is making that community better? Safety. Safety.
returning back to your neighborhood receiving cheers for all your efforts into fighting against crime. Now, the difference in most low-income neighborhoods, if you're considered a gangster or committed to the street ethics, even if you know the serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer lives next door and you call the cops on him, you're a snitch, bitch. Even if you witness Jeff the Subway commercial guy and Bill Cosby together committing a sex crime and you call the cops, you're a snitch, bitch.
Right. So basically what he's saying is this, is that even heinous, you can be called a snitch for even reporting heinous crimes, which unfortunately happens a lot to women in our community. So that's why this protection provision crap that they talk in the red pill is full of crap, because they don't offer that because they go by the no snitching rule. Red pill is the ultimate no snitching community. They are. They let monsters run amok. In fact, sometimes they even support the monsters. They let them run amok. The lawless, toxic.
You call the cops. Even if you're riding in a car with a friend of a friend named Robert, who unknown to you has on him 2 guns, a Glock and an Uzi, 3 illegal drugs, 1 knife, 1 pair of brass knuckles, and 3 stolen credit cards. Now your friend John chooses to be a speed demon, hitting 110 miles per hour on the highway with bad luck. Now y'all happen to
Let me pause that right there. That's funny. Why seeking knowledge kicks out the knowledge one more time. Here we go. We are traumatized by senseless police killings by black men that it feels traitorous to call the police because that could be a death of one of ours. But this is seriously to our own detriment. Bars. Perfectly said. Perfectly said. That is true.
get pulled over by the cops who
The
ask
question is, if we reform, let's say we do reform the police where they become more efficient, more, stable. Do you think that our community would improve, or would it stay around the same? That's a question. If you feel free, go ahead and put something in the chat. I'm going to keep this going. Here we go.
you. In order to avoid going to jail together, facing 20 years, you have to simply tell him who these items belong to. If you just point out the owner of these items, you're a snitch ass bitch. Because of this influence from the streets.
Yeah. Now, see, here's the funny thing. This is where the issue of not wanting to. Hey, Bridget's in the house. Here's the situation of where not wanting accountability, to be accountable for your actions. Nobody told this guy right here, who was fully loaded with the guns and illegal stuff and stuff he stole, to do all that. And you should know that if you do all that, you could go to jail for it. The lack of accountability in our community is a concern, because we need to stop doing that. The best thing to do is just not be this guy. The best thing you can do is not be the guy right here. Pretty Bones in the house. Pretty Bones breaks it down just like this. That's what all those black men did with R. Kelly. They knew what R. Kelly was doing with those young women, and they said nothing for years and years. Black male culture is sick. Bars. It's true. It's true. Not only R. Kelly, there's a long list of other men. Diddy's another one. Diddy and his old crew. That no snitching rule, they excelled in. They loved it. Because these dudes saw and when some women saw that wrong shit going down, what these men were doing to women and other men. And they let it just slide. Pastors too, yep. Why seek knowledge? Breaks it down one more time. The way things are going with the white nationalism in such an uptick, these incidents are already beginning to increase. No dice, DJ, not happening. Bars. Bars. Here we go.
And gang culture applying these snitching rules to everyone in the black community. It makes you think, are criminals protected by these snitch rules? And why? It's known that civilian witnesses in these communities face threats and sometimes even murder.
Yeah. Shit, you can get threats here on YouTube. It's crazy. So the thing is that I guess we unfortunately have come to the conclusion that the community won't improve anymore because let's face it, unless there's some weird technology that comes out that's able to give people your freedoms, but at the same time be more efficient on getting monsters off the street, it's gonna be the same. It's gonna be stuck.
Assumed by the average, most families living in the hoods of America are due to circumstances and not because they want to be gangster or street. So, are they forced to live by these same rules? And will they be looked at as a snitch if they report a crime? Should they just mind their business? If so, who should they seek for protection in the community to prevent them or their loved ones from
Right,
being?
and that's the point. Okay, you want to say F cops, whatever. Yeah, hey, you have you have right to say that. Okay, so who's going to protect you? And it happens a lot. What our communities are the most, let's say the most, it's like this. It's different if you want to say we have a better solution than the policing that's happening now. But when the men in our community are causing more of the problem, then what do you do? What do you do when the men in our community are the problem? Because it ain't the women. I mean, there's a percentage of the women that might be a problem, but in general, it's the community got the way it was because of the men. We were in control of the community. So what do you do? It didn't get this way because some women did some shit. It got this way because some men did some shit. So how are we going to fix it? I mean, nobody has an answer right now, but you should answer sooner or later because things are going to get worse if you don't. It's not like we're not in a fairy tale where you can click your heels 3 times and everything's going to be cool. Why seek knowledge? A 6-year-old boy was going to testify. Him and his mom were, wow. No one wants to make the sacrifices. These animals have no boundaries. That is doggone sad to hear. So, yeah. It just breaks it down. We have to call the police. We don't have protection from our men. Yeah. I think that's just the way it is. So basically, I truly believe that a man who is innocent should not be in prison. I truly believe that a man who just was doing some stupid, slipped on a rubber and then accidentally tapped somebody, they shouldn't be in prison. No, somebody who, somebody who, and I mean tapped. I mean like he slipped on rubber in the street. Okay, let's make that clear. But anyway, somebody who jaywalked, no, you shouldn't be in prison. No, that kind of aggressive shit, I'm not down for. But if you're a monster and you DV'd somebody or SA'd somebody, yeah, you're in the right place. You should be in prison.
Being the next victim of a crime. Real quick, let's take the rapper Pop Hunter, who's known for his hit song Adderall, Corvette, Corvette, who grew up in Philadelphia with his mother, who did not raise him by the street code. Unfortunately, one day at the age of 13, he witnessed his best friend get murdered right in front of him. While still grieving the loss of his friend, his mother took him down to the police department to file a police report on the crime and see if he could identify the killer to get them off the streets. Despite his talent and catchy songs, almost 5 or 6 years later, this same police report was discovered. The hip-hop culture as a whole labeled him a snitch and blackballed him out of the game.
Can you believe that? That's a testament to the hip hop culture as well. So initially what they're saying is that in so many actions is that they support deletions. The hip hop culture supports deletions. You don't tell on anybody. You don't try to cut down on deletions. That's supposed to just be a part of life. And because of it, I mean, he still did the right thing, but because of it, boom.
Let's take an interesting YouTuber and activist like Charleston White, who was recently involved in an altercation while visiting Dallas, Texas, representing his youth program. When approached by a group of upset local neighborhood guys who were also brandishing weapons, surrounded him and asked if he checked in with anybody they know to even be allowed to visit their town. Charleston White replied by calling the cops. So, does self-preservation make him a snitch? Being accused of being a snitch or a federal informant is so easily thrown around now that just YouTubers telling true stories of crimes are accused of being a snitch or fed when reporting news.
It just told you that we have an issue that we respect criminals. Because if you didn't respect criminals, you wouldn't care if somebody snitched on them, right? Or if there wouldn't even be the word snitch. That's a criminal word for prison. That's where it came from, basically. So
before we end this video, to make things clear, understanding that most people who are raised in the streets and live by these rules also didn't simply choose the life they live as well. You have to account for the education, family structure, with most having fatherless or motherless households with no legally successful role models, surrounded by poverty and pain. It's a reason why they say you are a product of your environment. It does become a point as you age and educate yourself, accountability has to be accepted as well. My main question is, no matter what side of the fence you play on, street life versus civilian life, whose job is it to protect the community from being...
Right. I mean, you can't have a no snitching rule and then not provide protection. And that's what we did. And that's why everything's the way it is.
Why are snitches looked at so badly? There's actually two answers to this. There's the generally accepted opinion, and then I have my own opinion. Generally accepted opinion is that they get dudes time. Whereas some guys may have skated under the radar, got away with their crimes, even though they are doing wrong. It's not my job to judge anybody on their moral compass. You know, they get time behind it, 20, 30 years.
And see, that's the problem. It is your job to judge other people. That's what non-criminal cultures do. They say, hey, look, you did something wrong, man. You need to be accountable for that. Now, I'm not talking about minor shit like, smoking weed or jaywalking and shit. I'm talking about when you like beat up somebody, male or female for that matter, that didn't, especially if they didn't deserve it, but for women, regardless. For men, I mean, come on. You don't do that. So that's why the situation's the way it is in our community. Why seek knowledge? With the gutter black men being so toxic, the average man is fearing for himself and leaving us all to our own fate. Their gonads should have never dropped down, stayed in the stomach like the rest of us. Bars. New Diamond. There are women who date inmates. Yep. Sonia. There are women who meet up with inmates on dating apps. Yep, they sure do. There are women who actually protect and date predators. Yep. There are. True. You can be a product of your environment. This is Jackie Gaines. But you don't have to be a part of that environment. Bars.
Life up to, just because somebody decided to do the police's work for them. Now, my personal opinion.
Yeah, see, that's a stupid thing. The police's work for them. The police, let's say the police were perfect people. There's just not enough of them. I mean, think about it. See, he thinks like a criminal. There's just not enough. Probably for every, I don't know, in a given town, for every one police officer, there's probably what 2,000 or 3,000 people? No, it's probably more like 10,000 people. And it ain't enough to get around. So what is it? What is this guy thinking?
On the matter is that snitches are looked at badly in my eyes because you're taking your shit and you're putting it off on somebody else. If you choose.
By the way, the way of this site, I'm gonna go ahead and like it. Prison life. He goes, okay, there you go. So anyway, the thing is this: is he's giving you, I guess, a prisoner's point of view on snitching. But let's listen to this part one more time. I need to double check on this.
And you're putting it off on somebody else. If you choose to be in that,
okay,
is that snitches are looked at badly in my eyes because you're taking your shit and you're putting it off on somebody else. If you choose to be in that kind of life, you got to know what comes with it, man. You got to know that if you get caught.
Okay, so what he's talking about is somebody who was doing the crime with the other person and he rats on the other guy. I guess that's what he's talking about.
And you got to go and do your time, bro. Like, that's morally some bullshit. You don't take your burdens and push them off on somebody else so you don't have to be as burdened.
Well, see, the thing is that person already, if somebody can be snitched on, right, and they can go to jail for a long time for what they were being snitched on, obviously they did some shit they shouldn't have been doing. I guess he failed to tell that.
Once again, do you both understand the charges being brought against you and your constitutional rights? Bulk. Harvey.
Yes. And one more question. I'm the only one that got charged with narcotics?
Yes. All right. As to your...
This is called the moment you realize you've been snitched on. Oh, man. That was funny to me. Okay, let me break it down. Here we go. So we're going back into hood fishing. Here we go.
If you follow any Florida blogs, you've likely seen Hood Fishing Entertainment, as he recently went viral after catching a whole ass shark and doing the most Florida thing possible, putting a gold chain around its neck. 28-year-old Raheem Bailey, who goes by the nickname Ra or Ra, quickly amassed a following on both YouTube and Instagram, receiving nationwide support as he caught all types of sea life.
Yeah, one of them with the crabs in the bucket. They couldn't just let him go. Whether he was in the life or not, he's trying to do better now. Let's find out how it went down.
And really won over a whole community in which dreads and gold teeth aren't considered the norm, but he shined anyway. Growing up in Fort Myers, for those not from Florida, this was the city also known as Little Pakistan. While Palm Beach, Miami, and Broward County sat on the East Coast, Fort Myers laid on the West Coast of South Florida. The Michigan projects would be home to Florida legend Plies, and Plies would carry the city on his back while putting it on the map. Looking at old footage of Fort Myers, it's not hard to see why Ra chose the name Hood Fishing. At 16 years old, Ra would move from Fort Myers to play football for Cape Coral High.
Yeah, he was a very talented man. I mean, he is a very talented man. He's still around. Basically, he played football for a while and then something happened.
With the dreams of pursuing a football career, but the following year, his life almost ended. On July 1st, 2013, Fort Myers police were dispatched to a call for shots fired in the area of Lemon Street and Palm Ave. They drive through multiple streets before being flagged down by a then 17-year-old Ra, who said he'd been shot in the back somewhere by the Blue Store. Officers attempted to get information from Ra and his mother, who was also on the scene, but both were uncooperative. That's when Ra stated he was outside a house with a friend, and two males that he knows as Jay Riggins and Fat Sam started shooting at them. Ra took his shirt off, saying he was shot in the back while running, showing he'd been grazed by a bullet. Ra said his friend was possibly hurt but couldn't provide the address to where the shooting occurred, only saying he was outside of a white and peach-colored house a block from the store. EMS arrived on scene to treat Ra's wound as his mother explained she came to pick him up and take him to the hospital when they flagged down the officer. Locating the shooting scene, officers would find 9 shell casings from a .45 and a 10mm pistol. Ra would be escorted back to the house, confirming that's where he was shot at. Officers
Man, that's a trip.
made contact with Jatavis Carey at the home, who said he was outside with Ra when the shooting happened. They observed Jay Riggins and Fat Sam shoot at them, and Carey stated he and Ra ran before making his way back inside the home. Ra requested to make a report and press charges. Ra and his friend later arrived at the Fort Myers Police Department to provide sworn statements.
Right in the middle, accountability.
Where they identified 17-year-old Javarcia Riggins and 16-year-old Jarrett German out of a photo lineup. Both teams would be charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon without the intent to kill. Both teams would be taken to a juvenile detention facility where they'd eventually be adjudicated as adults and face upgraded charges of attempted murder. With Ra listed as a witness, it was in January of 2014 when he'd be called in to testify. Now 18 years old, Ra would state he's a junior at Cape Coral High. He'd get into his life story starting football at 5.
Wait, a junior. Wait a minute. Let me hear that again. Junior at 18?
Without the intent to kill. Both teams would be taken to a juvenile face upgraded charges of attempted murder. With Ra listed as a witness, it was in January of 2014 when he'd be called in to testify. Now 18 years old, Ra would state he's a junior at Cape Coral High.
Wow. Okay, so he must have been held back a little bit.
He'd get into his life story starting football at 5 years old and living inside Campbell Acres from 6 to 17. Campbell Acres is a one-way in, one-way out neighborhood based around 4 streets. The hood would be known throughout the city as the Chop, and Ra would leave his hood for Cape Coral for better opportunities and to play for a better football team. Throughout his testimony,
Good for him. At least he's getting halfway out. Let's see what happens.
He'd have to explain how he made it to his friend's house, stating he was driven by his cousin. At first, he refused to give up his cousin's name to the courts as he didn't want to involve anyone else, but the courts would persist and Ra eventually gave in. Moving on, Ra would state he was over his friends playing video games, and as it got later, they'd go out to the carport while Ra waited for his mom to pick him up in the rain. As Ra and Tavis shook hands, Ra witnessed the two teens approach, saying, "What's up, Tavis?" before opening fire. Ra would clarify for the courts who he saw, but that he never saw an actual gun, just the fire coming from the barrel. When asked about Fat Sam, Ra would say he grew up with him and at one point played flag football with him. He told the courts he doesn't know much about him, but say his Facebook name was Bucktown German.
Man, that is crazy. I mean, the thing is, to me, is no snitch law is like a nail in a coffin in the community.
Bucktown was another Fort Myers hood. Ra would
Why Seeking Knowledge breaks it down like this. We tend to excuse our men. We tend to blame the women, just like they do for their failings. And yeah, they do. We tend to blame the women, I believe. Oh, I'm sorry. My bad. Let me read it one more time. We tend to excuse our men. We tend to blame the Caucasian men, white men, just like they do for their failings and for and have contributed, I should say, to their dust levels. Yep. Unfortunately, dust levels are about to flatline. Bars.
Describe a team party he was warned not to go to where he saw Fat Sam. No words were exchanged, only looks, and Rod would describe them in court as "I'm gonna kill you when I see you, I'm gonna beat you up" looks. Rod would explain he's from the Chop, while Fat Sam and Jay Riggins were from Bucktown, a rival hood. Rod would say he didn't have problems with anyone, but people he knew had problems with them and vice versa, so he was caught in the mix. Come to find out, Rod actually grew up with Jay Riggins and would go over his house a lot, which is how he came to know Fat Sam. But eventually they'd make other friends, and those friends would become enemies with others.
Wow, so all that stuff, all that pettiness got in the way.
I told the courts before this incident his house was shot up, and Jay Riggins told his mom he had nothing to do with it, but he showed the boys where he lived, and they shot it up. Rod's mom would confront Jay and Fat Sam, saying she wouldn't put the police on them, but what was the problem? And Fat Sam would say it was over a girl. Fast forward to the night.
Right, see what I mean? That's called no impulse control.
Rod was shot. He just so happened to be texting a girl related to Fat Sam when Fat Sam and Jay showed up. Rod would state he really grew up in Michigan, where kids fought instead of shot, and they just moved on. The courts would ask if the shooting had affected him, and Rod said he's cool with it.
That rule hasn't been out for a long time about fighting and not shooting. That went away probably in the 90s.
When asked if he's afraid, he'd say no, and that he actually ran into Jay and Fat Sam while they were out on bond at a movie theater, and nothing happened. When asked if he's had a nightmare, he'd say no. He's never feared for his life, and if anything, he felt like it was a push to get out of Fort Myers. He'd tell the courts he'd rather have them see him on TV, wishing they could be him, but they chose the wrong thing. Little did Rod know, that's exactly what would happen. Jay Riggins would eventually plead guilty to 2 counts of attempted murder and receive a youth offender prison sentence of 4
Damn, look at his eyes. Looks like a killer.
4 years, followed by 2 years of probation. Jay would enter Florida State Prison in January of 2016 and be released in March of 2018, as he also received credit for his time in jail. His probation would be terminated only 7 months later, but not for good behavior.
Wow. Check that out. When you live that life.
This evening at approximately 9:30 p.m., the Lee County Sheriff's Office responded to shots fired in the Bell Tower shops. Upon arrival, our deputies observed 2 individuals that succumbed to their injuries, and 2 other individuals were transported to a local area hospital. Their injuries are unknown at this time. They're being treated. It appears to
Jackie, you nailed it. He's showing he has no remorse. It's written all over his face. Bars.
not be a random act of violence. I can tell you the Lee County Sheriff's Office Major Crime Unit is working very, very hard. All our resources are here. So please respect that scene and give us time to get all the details together. It's very open, very active. As we get details, I will get them to you as soon as possible. But again, we're going to be working through the night. Please give us that time. And again, it does not appear to be a random act of violence.
On October 9th, 2018, Jay Riggins was eating at a TGI Fridays, celebrating his mom's birthday. Jay, his mom, and his dad walked outside for a cigarette when gunfire erupted. As the smoke cleared, 22-year-old Jay and his 56-year-old father lay dead.
Wow, what does dad do? Shoot.
Another woman was found shot, and another suffered injuries from glass shattering, but both would survive. Fat Sam would make a mistake many young men do as they enter the system. He'd take his case to trial and be found guilty on both counts of attempted murder, leaving him with a 20-year prison sentence. An appeal would be filed stating it was a dark, rainy night on the night of the shooting. No physical evidence.
Okay, here we go. This is the crazy thing. Okay, so he's going to break it down for you, but this is where Rasheen did the community good. He was a witness. He told them what was going on. The guy who he appealed to try to get out and caused probably more damage to the community because that's all he knows what to do. And Rasheen's testimony put him back in. So that's what happened.
Well, forensic evidence could identify the shooters. No other witnesses were ever found in the case, and the only evidence admitted at trial was the testimony of Rasheen Bailey, aka Ra. During Fat Sam's third year in prison, Ra would attempt to retract his trial testimony, but what was done was already done, and the appeal would be denied. Hood Fishing Entertainment would start in 2020, and Ra would share his adventures to social media as over the next 4 years his brand grew, but with success comes jealousy and envy. I would receive DMs months ago asking for me to expose Ra as a snitch, but in my mind, it was pointless. He wasn't a rapper portraying a gangster.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't, let's put it this way. He was not in the game. He was not in that life. He was around it, but he wasn't in it. And this is a funny thing. So that's what they want to do. They want to swallow you up. They want to swallow you up into their life. So you're living their style of life.
He was just a man fishing, finding his own lane. So what changed between then and now?
Rasheen Bailey is known by many as Hood Fishing on Instagram and TikTok. He's recovering after being shot multiple times in Fort Myers. Tonight, Bailey's comment section is flooded with support and people questioning why someone would shoot him. One person even wrote, "Why would bro even have enemies?"
On May 2nd, 2024, around 4 p.m., shots rang out on MLK Boulevard and Michigan Ave. Ra was driving his car when another vehicle opened fire, shooting him multiple times. The shots caused Ra to veer off the road, cross the median, and crash into a truck.
Damn, he's like the Tupac of fishing. 4 shots and he's still alive. Wow.
I would get out of the car running to a bystander, asking her to call 911. Ra would then flag down officers who applied a tourniquet before he was rushed to a hospital. An official statement would be posted to Ra's YouTube channel stating he was shot 4 times and is expected to make a full recovery. But why was he shot? Was this a random act of road rage? Or was the past coming back to haunt him? See, Ra spoke his future into existence. Jay Riggins was killed before Ra ever became successful, and Fat Sam is sitting inside of a Florida prison while Ra is blowing up on social media. But there's also an entire hood called Bucktown that's watched 2 of their guys go down because of Ra. Now, did Ra snitch? At this point...
Wait, how are they blaming him for the guy who got shot? See, that's the funny thing. See, when you don't have any empathy in your heart and your mind, you tend to make a code that's not right. You're supposed, when people do something bad, these guys didn't go to prison because of something Ra did. They went to prison for something they did. That's the no snitching, no
question
snitching.
doesn't even need an answer. But what many will say is, why does it matter? It matters because no matter how much you change your life for the better, whether you put the guns down to pick up a fishing rod or you put the drugs down to pick up a football, the people in life that don't see the greater things in life will always be looking for someone else to blame. They will envy your success.
Let me play that one more time. That is deep.
The better, whether you put the guns down to pick up a fishing rod or you put the drugs down to pick up a football. The people in life that don't see the greater things in life will always be looking for someone else to blame. They will envy your success And because of their inability to achieve more, they will do what they can do to drag you back down. I'm not stamping Rao
Crabs in a bucket. Crabs in a bucket.
a rat because his lifestyle doesn't abide by a code. He said it back then in the courtroom. He doesn't fear for his life, and he'd rather kill him with success. I will say this though, naming his brand Hood Fishing is walking a line where people can criticize him for still attaching hood to his name when he broke a code 90% of people pretend to follow.
Let me pause it right there. Jackie Gaines breaks it down just like this. They act tough on the streets, but behind bars won't be a walk in the park. Yep. Why seek a knowledge? He can't look like a punk. They are inside in flip-flops, casting lots on that crack. Casting lots on that crack. Can't look soft bars. Yeah, it wasn't random. I don't think it was random either. I think he was targeted. You know, that's crazy. Here we go.
Himself has a criminal history, but the majority is all petty. The most
Let me go back.
attaching hood to his name when he broke a code 90% of people pretend to follow. Ra himself has a criminal history, but the majority is all petty. The most serious case Ra had was for almost upping the gun on someone and chasing them down in a car. And come to find out, it was an undercover cop sitting outside his family's home. Ra could also be seen in a 2017 music video of 5150 Committee, a murderous rap group out of Fort Myers.
So this is why he got shot. You can't, as a lesson, you cannot hang around murderers and not expect to get some of the collateral damage.
Wouldn't rap, but can be seen holding an AIP in the background of the video. Two of the rappers were killed. One is in prison for murder, and the other is now unheard of. With Ra expected to make a full recovery, the only thing he needs to do is get far away from Fort Myers.
And fishing is a great way to do it.
He's found his own lane, and I guarantee it will be unaffected by his past since he really didn't change his life around. He never lived that life to begin with and always had a dream to make it out the hood.
Look at this weak ass.
Man,
nigga.
what? So what y'all?
Hell nah, bro. I'm good. Don't
welcome. Oh yeah.
What's up, me?
Damn, what's up?
What you mean? What's up? Hell yeah, the whole hood know you're a snitch. Yeah, you around here snitching.
Oh, who?
They say you snitched on Funeral Home Freddy.
Man, hell nah, man. Y'all know I ain't with that snitching shit. Nigga, don't even come at me like that. Y'all know I don't play that snitching shit.
They say you was in there telling everything, detailed. All because you thought you was gonna get locked up too.
Bro, like I said, bro, that's my nigga. Why would I snitch on my own homie, bro? That's my homeboy.
That don't mean shit.
We grew up together, man. Why would I do that, nigga? Don't come at me like that, nigga. Hey, on my life, nigga, I ain't snitch, bro. God can strike me down right now, nigga.
First of all, my nigga, lower your goddamn tone, bro. And you talking about you ain't snitch, nigga. The whole hood read your whole affidavit. Yeah.
The whole hood read his affidavit.
Yeah, what you saying, nigga? We been read the whole hood, nigga. Oh, snitching ass nigga. Yeah, man, I might as well go and call this nigga Undertaker, cause he a dead man walking. I promise, man. Freddy said when he see you, your ass done for.
Man, that shit crazy, bro. Folks just be lying.
Nah, nigga, ain't nobody lying on your ass, nigga. Don't get scared now. You were just talking about God can strike you down and all that, acting all tough. Now you scared now. Hey, yeah. He said he better not ever catch you in this hood again, or he got something for your ass. I don't see why you came back. You act like the hood wasn't gonna find out that you snitch. Why would you snitch on your own homeboy?
Man, bro, I say I didn't snitch, bro.
Man, shut the fuck up with that shit, nigga. You know you snitched. I just told you we read the affidavit. Right, man. Nigga, I was trying to lie and shit.
I said I didn't snitch, bitch.
Oh, hell no. This nigga done threw a water bottle.
All right. That was pretty funny. That's Sub Rico. Well, everybody, that was I mean, that's the thing. It's like, okay, you want to live this no snitching rule or the no snitching lifestyle. Nobody's going to change what, a person wants to do, but just know that the community is not going to get any better if we continue to live under that code, because it never has worked for us. It never has. I mean, think of a time when no snitching really worked for us, because usually what happens is the guys who get snitched on, right? We didn't hear anybody good. Out of all the people we heard in this live stream that I went over, right? How many of them were how many of them were snitched on for something like a minor technicality or something? Not a one. It was for dudes who had done some heinous stuff to other people. That's the sad part, is that if we do not turn those people in and, strangely enough, get them help, then the community is never going to change. It's never going to be better. It's just that pathology we have to change. I mean, there's so much, going on. The first thing we can do to combat crime in our community is not to give in to thug culture. And I believe in the community we have. Welcome to the stage. Why is Seeking Knowledge? How you doing tonight?
Hello.
So what do you think? What do you think so far? What do you think about? Oh man. I mean, are you there?
Yeah, I'm having audio difficulties. They told me to do something, and I don't know what it told me to do. Yeah, I am.
She had to go first. She'll be back. Let me put another drop. Okay, gotta drop that. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, the only way to really improve the hood, let's put it this way. The only way to improve the hood is to get the problem that's in the hood out of the hood. But how are you getting that problem out if you're trying to keep the problem from leaving? That's the problem that we have. Well, why is Seeking Knowledge is getting that taken care of? Let me go through this. Right here.
Welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen, to another glorious day in the courtroom. And today, it's not your average boot smoking day. No, it's not. And we're taking a little bit of an unorthodox approach. This is definitely something a little bit different. And as always, before we get into these few clips, do not forget to hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell. If you're into content pertaining to lockup of any nature, this is where you want to be.
All right. Mic check 1, 2. How you doing? Why is Seeking Knowledge?
Hello, I'm here, DJ.
Sound good. You sound good. So tell me, what are your thoughts for the night? What do you think?
Well, I'm thinking that, this is a huge problem. So I'm glad that we are addressing it. Our Black males have a huge problem with how they navigate themselves as Black men. They have a lot on their backs, okay, as far as the concept of manhood. Okay, being in the patriarchy, and they see other men, other groups of men, how they identify as men. They base their manhood on a whole different principle, on a whole different level. They look at manhood as the acquisition of property, of getting a wife and a house and an education, and being the father, of children, and, owning a house, these things. If they do these things amongst their male groups, then they're a man, and they're a healthy, man of status. In the Black community, then they're a man if they got a lot of chicks or a lot of women, and they're screwing over their woman, and they're doing derelict behaviors. And then he's really cool if he's a pimp and he drives a nice car and he's selling, these type of toxic behaviors actually rise him up and make him so these types, and they have a propensity to send him to jail, or have bad situations actually happen to him. So they do more damage than they do to rise him up. They create a lot of single family homes, create a toxic community for him instead of actually do community building, do positive things to his reputation, these type of things. So they actually act to his detriment. They don't, they provide a positive outcome for other male groups, what they identify with to create their manhood. So that's what I'm seeing here, and that's what we're seeing with the male groups, and how they identify with their manhood.
Well said. I mean, I think basically that is the primary issue. You just nailed it, because for some reason it's like in our community we have a lot of men who live by a code that is destructive more than it is about building. It's like, instead of, I mean, the fact of the matter is you have to ask yourself, who's going to be more respected in our community, a gangster or a square? We know who, and that's the primary issue right there. That's a hard wheel to fix, as I would say. Let me play a little bit of this.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you should give to this court and the matter before it should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Oh, he's in court to snitch, just so, as they call snitch. Listen closely.
Mr. Price, we're not going to talk about this trial in this case yet. I just want to determine what anyone may have said to you or may have done to you.
All right, let's go ahead and pause it right there for anybody that might not know what's going on. This guy's obviously.
I'm really not stopping for this man right here. I'm not stopping to listen to this guy right here. He is going to tell you why they think the way they do. Here we go.
In cuffs, he's a jailhouse snitch. He's already testified against the defendant with the detectives. Jailhouse snitches, first and foremost, they go to see the detectives. The detectives determine whether or not they're being truthful, if it can be used in a courtroom. And then once it's approved and it's checked out, detectives believe him. He gets to take that glorious stand. Now, what you heard right in the beginning of this video was them swearing him in, right? They asked him to lift his right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth? The judge said no. Before we move on with the official trial, let's just find out if he is going to be doing what he's here to do. It's crazy to think that if someone has the right intel and they know how to speak, they can get your ass locked up forever. And you probably
notice how he doesn't. People see. Notice how he said, if people have the right intel and know how to speak, they can get you locked up forever. Not realizing that person is just telling the truth, and getting the person who actually got themselves locked up forever is a person who did whatever the crime was that the person told about. And I know it's ironic that we're looking at a Caucasian dude saying it, but that's the mentality of a lot of people. It's like, hey, you got this multiple, abuser put into prison for 10 years because you told on him. Well, what's wrong with that? They're supposed to go to prison. They caused a crime that damaged people. But they have this mentality.
Probably didn't do a damn thing. You just got caught up at the wrong place, wrong time, and had the wrong jailhouse.
And there you go. Why seek knowledge? Ain't that something? So, causing a crime, he's basically saying because you caused a crime at the wrong place at the wrong time, around the wrong people. I know one thing. Usually, that's just crazy. I don't know. What are your thoughts so far? Let me play a little bit more.
Rat cellmate. But let's see what this guy's going to say on the stand.
You've been called here today to testify about that statement you made with your attorney to detectives.
You have been called here today to speak about the testimony that you have given to the detectives.
You understand that? All right. And is it your intention?
Put some bass in your voice, dog.
According to that statement you made in the presence of your attorney and to the detectives here today in court.
Let me pause it right there. Jackie Gaines says that statistics say if males can't read by 3rd or 4th grade, they'll usually end up in prison. This lets states know how many prisons are needed. The Matthew effect. Bars.
Is it, do you intend to testify based on that statement here today?
He said, do you intend to testify based on that statement? Just in case you couldn't hear.
Are you going to testify?
Oh, man, what's this guy going to do, man? The guy asking him these questions is the prosecutor, right? The guy working for the state, trying to prosecute the defendant. And he's asking him if he's going to follow up with what he said to the detectives once again. And he ain't saying nothing. He ain't saying nothing. He's like, man, shit, I messed up. Maybe I shouldn't be here. You know, there's a lot of jailhouse snitches out there that don't have any kind of principles. They don't care what happens to you. But there's a rare few that when they take that stand and see you, the defendant, the guy that they're about to snitch on, eye to eye, they have a change of heart. Something within them says, nah, I can't do this shit, man.
Wow, that's just... I mean, unfortunately, in life, usually the best witnesses are the accomplices. So this is going to be going on for a long time. So in general, we have to realize that basically there's no, I mean, you can't clean up the community and not per se snitch. It's just not going to happen. The technology,
he's
the
nervous.
resources. I'm sorry, go ahead.
He's nervous and he doesn't know how to speak. He's probably used to speaking around the people on the block. So he's in a very uncomfortable setting and he's being confronted with the people that he spoke against. And he can't even keep his face up. He can't even look around the room. He's looking down. So he's in a very uncomfortable setting and he probably doesn't know the language that they're using. He doesn't use proper language or anything. You know, he's not equipped at all. And you can tell he's in a very uncomfortable setting.
Or there could be something else at play. And we'll talk about that when we get there. But so far, he ain't saying nothing.
Well, let me rephrase this. Mr. Burke, can you hold your head up?
Look at them waves, though. You spinning.
Someone threatened you or assaulted you or did anything in any manner that will cause you to not testify according to your statement? No. See, we have nothing.
All right, so the prosecutors asked him, is there anybody that's trying to scare you, is beating you up, and is trying to stop you from testifying against the defendant? And he says no, but the prosecutor's question is very valid. This happens on a regular basis as well. Witness tampering with witness, however you like to call it. People will threaten the witnesses, especially if they get their
right. Exactly. People will threaten witnesses. And it's called extortion. where you're trying to basically scare people or threaten people to do what you want them to do. One of them, in many cases, is not to testify.
Personal information, or in his situation, looks like he's in jail already. He's got cuffs on. So that's even easier for anyone to get someone that's in jail to push up on him and say, hey, bro, if you don't stop what you're doing, we're going to take your life. There's no running from it. You better take that stand and not say a damn thing. And that happens all the time. All he has to do is write one letter, one phone call, one message in any way, shape, or form to one of the crazier guys in the gang that he knows will go run up on this fool and tell him to shut his damn mouth. But see, here's the thing. He's in a lose-lose situation, right? He's already testified to the detectives. He's already a snitch, if you ask me. Even if he doesn't say anything on the stand, he's already started that initial snitching. And detectives, especially over here in Virginia, they don't need no damn person to testify.
So basically what he's saying is that this guy is, I mean, him testing, the words coming out of his mouth would help the case, but aren't mandatory to the case. But why seek of knowledge? Does he look like he has a look of regret of what, or do you think he has a look of shame, or does he just have the look of despair? What do you think?
I think he does have a look of both, actually. He does look very regretful and he looks very embarrassed. That is definitely not his element. I think this guy that's navigating, he seems like he's very well versed in these type of situations. I mean, he's not shaved at all. He looks like he has a criminal element to his background. So he's like, he seems like he's been here before. So he's very well versed in like interpreting the whole scenario here. But he does. I mean, he's probably telling this whole story exactly how it's going. I do believe he's getting pressure from the outside and the inside. If he did squeal, he probably did do it to, lessen whatever burden is on him, whatever they got him in there for. Of course, that is a big thing. That is why people do tell. To try to lessen whatever charges are on them. And then at the same time, if he's part of a gang element or something like that, you're going to get pressure from the other side. If you snitch on somebody on your element, you're going to get pressure from them. So he's just in a lose-lose whole situation here. And his face is really showing. And if I don't know how old he is, but he's probably looking about 10 years older than what he really is right now.
Bro.
They could just use your words. I've seen many situations where guys went in the courtroom and there was no witnesses. Still convicted off the witnesses' testimonies at the scene, but they're not in the courtroom. So even if he doesn't say anything on the stand, it could very well still be used in the courtroom.
Do you have concerns about going back to the jail once you testify? No.
I don't think he meant it. I think he has heavy concerns.
So with that being said, do you intend to testify today? Yes or no? No, he has to go to advise witness. He has to answer this question, yes or no.
I'm going to tell you this right now, man. That prosecutor is pissed. He's making the prosecutor and the detectives look like dummies. One thing they hate more than anything is looking like a dummy. You hear all those sophisticated words they use in there. They don't want to be looked at like that. They want to look like brilliant soldiers of the law. But when you got a guy coming in pleading the fifth, there ain't really nothing to fight with, is there? And the judge hates it more than all of them, man. The judge is like, this is a complete waste of my damn time.
All right, Mr. Kerr, please do answer the question, yes or no. That was a yes or no type question. I think the question was, do you intend to testify today?
The judge even asked.
Dang. I mean, he's just stonewalling. Hey.
He's getting frustrated too. And a lot of people, when the judge asks you to do something, they're going to do it. And don't ever get it twisted. You don't have to speak if the judge speaks to you. You have every right to shut the hell up. And 99% of the time, that's your best route. Shut the hell up. But this guy,
Yeah, that's funny though, because a lot of people, they should shut the hell up, but they shut the hell up too late. You know, when they're in jail, when they're supposed to shut the hell up beforehand.
he's just, I don't know what the hell this dude's doing. Maybe he just wanted a damn ride to the courthouse, smell some fresh air. Who knows? Maybe got a few cigarettes. I know for a fact people have lied to detectives just to get a chicken sandwich and some cigs. They'll walk into the block like,
Oh man.
This is true. I believe it. And he probably had second thoughts on his way, or he may have been told something by another inmate. He may have been told something. He might have got his, his t-shirt pulled and said, look, man, and somebody may have told him something that may have changed his mind before he got there. So, I mean, for him to have a whole change of heart is not surprising to me at all.
Yeah.
I smell these Newports on my finger, boys. No bullshit. I've seen it, man. Give him some bullshit story about some random ass clown. Just to get a damn chicken sandwich and some Newports.
Somebody may have quoted the address to his grandma's house in his ear on his way in the door.
Mm-hmm. Those creepy words, I know where you live, is quite effective.
Say no. Mr. Hayes, anything from you?
I agree with the statement.
That he should be declared unavailable?
So it's looking good for the defendant. They're not going to be using his testimony from what I heard. They're all coming to an agreement that by his silence, it pretty much says no, he will not be testifying. But let's take a closer look at this defendant. If I were to guess, just by judging a book by the back of its cover, because that's all I can see is the back of them for the most part, but taking everything into account, even down to this guy being silent, I strongly believe some pressure was put on this guy behind bars. As soon as someone got wind that he left and went and talked to the detectives, they probably put 2 and 2 together and ran up on him. And then you would think they beat him up. But a lot of these gangsters in these blocks are smarter than you think. They know he's going to testify. So why would they want to beat him up before he goes and takes a stand? Then the judge and everyone will see that he was tampering with the witness in some way, shape, or form. Even if it wasn't him, it was definitely his goons. Now, look, I'm just painting pictures of different scenarios that happen in jail. I have no idea what this situation is. The only thing we know is that someone snitched and they're
I'm sorry, go ahead. Why?
having a change of heart on the stand. And this stuff happens all the time.
Let me pause it right there. Well, folks, that will conclude this live stream for Friday night. Talking about crabs in a bucket, the situation that has to do with the no snitching community, the no snitching laws in the community, and what it has done to the community. And, Ra, I believe he did the right thing no matter what. They say that he snitched, but it's not snitching. How is it snitching on telling on people who shot you? I don't get it. What? He's supposed to die? He's supposed to die in peace or something? What is that about? What is that about? Anyway, why you got any thoughts that you'd like to lay on the crowd?
I just want to say that this has been a huge thing. Like I said, I do believe that it was birthed from us witnessing, them tying a black man to 2 bulls and then slapping them, and us watching those things, them taking our 10 and 11-year-olds to these buck breaking farms, and us witnessing these atrocities throughout the years, all these slayings, so we've seen the trauma, and things like that, them infiltrating our neighborhoods, during the Black Panther days, them slaying all of the leaders and things like that. So we've been protective, and we've listened to those lies, with some of the lies, because Black women have continued to push on through these things. After a while, after the 70s and 80s, it wasn't the white man anymore that was holding them back. But they've been screaming this all this time while Black women have been coming, and gaining ground, but they still hollering about the white man to this day.
Yeah.
So after a while, it hasn't been that, but we've still had them under our wings and we've been crippling them. And this no snitch thing, that's something that I heard in my lifetime. We didn't hear that when I was young. This came later in the early 80s. Oh, no snitching, whatever. That stuff started then. And it has crippled us because we stopped reporting the crime and stuff like that. But we were still seeing these senseless beatings and stuff like that. I remember seeing that when I was young. A police came to an apartment building where I was staying. They took this guy and they kept trying to make him hit them back. And they were hitting him and grabbing him and slamming him up against the wall. If he would have just hit one of them, then they probably would have offed him right there while we were looking. And they would take him and beat him. They would throw him out the back of the paddy wagon in the morning and, in front of the apartment buildings, stuff like that. I've seen stuff like that. So we have had, a propensity to be protective of them because we've seen things like that. But when they're committing other crimes against other people like us, I don't know. It's kind of like it has been a mixed bag for us, but it's time out for us. These things are getting more atrocious and more atrocious against us. And we have seen where these things are actually to our detriment. Right. And it's, once we see this damage that has done to us, the carafe is burnt and it's cracked, the coffee smell is all in the curtains and everything.
True.
It's time for us to wake up and change course.
Yep. So basically, we're between a rock and a hard place where we don't have the type of we don't have what we'd call suitable law enforcement in general, and at the same time, we have these monsters in the community running around causing havoc. So,
well, I think us not having our men conform has contributed to the problem. So I think if we pull back that type of support, our men will have no choice but to conform because they won't have us protecting them to be that element. We won't protect them and have them being that element. That protection for them to do that will be gone. And they will fall prey to whatever they fall. I mean, it's called tough love. We're going to have to do it somewhere. We were wrong for allowing it in the first place. But we're going to have to cry and let that purge happen. It's hard to say. But we're going to have to allow the purge. Otherwise, I mean, look where it's going. Our femicide rates are worse. The only place they're worse are in different parts of Africa. The United States, for us to be the most developed country, that's really bad to say. Only our third world countries is the femicide rates worse. That is really sad to say. I mean, it's like our men are, so unevolved and so, you know what I mean? That their interpersonal skills are so low that they can't, connect with their women or have skills how to resolve problems and stuff. They just prehistoric, like, oh, beat you up. You know what I mean? That's so primitive. Like, come on. Really? Yeah. This is so disappointing. We're going to have to draw back this support of them and we're going to have to let them know. You know what I mean? We just can't. We have to let them fall to their own and let them pull themselves out of this miry clay and let them stand up and let them be men on more than one principle. We can't just let them, but the white man, but they didn't went on too long and we're watching them fail, but they won't allow us to pull them up because they're attacking us too. Look at Kevin Samuels, look at these red pill, they won't allow us to let them, or them, them partner with us. They hate us. Their misogyny is so strong. So, they won't let us, so we're going to have to let them do this alone and we're going to have to stop contributing to it. We're gonna have to just let that happen. And that's sad to say. It sounds very harsh. And I know everybody probably won't agree with it, but that's my opinion.
No, I actually agree with you. I mean, there's a point where what am I trying to say? The needs of the many need to be looked beyond the needs of the few. Let's put it that way. So
They're
otherwise,
so comfortable. They're so comfortable in it that look how they Kevin Samuels, they diss their only true ally.
that's exactly.
They dissing their only true ally. They're so comfortable in that position that they're
Yeah.
dissing their only true ally. Drag her for filth amongst the world, in the eyes of the world, their only true ally. And then we gotta let them go. At
Yeah.
this point, there's nothing else that will bring them back. Is to pull the protection of us, whatever. I mean, we identify with them. We're the only true ally, but we're gonna have to back up and let them settle this as men, if they are men. Like I said, the only difference between some of them, is some and us is those theirs dropped out, but ours stayed in. I mean, that's the only they seem like women like the rest of us, and it's just this crazy. You where are they to stand up and be men? It's like they can't even confront other men. Ours that have kind of got away and do these things that are so toxic. There is kind of no bringing them back. I've tried to have conversations with them and reason with them. They are so hard set into their toxicity that they do not reason. You cannot even, like, you can put a simple 2 + 2 = and they just will scream and holler, but what if 4? But what if 4 is this? And this, I mean, you cannot reason. I don't know if you've ever tried to have a conversation with them, but that's how it goes. It goes
Yeah,
into
it
all
is.
kind of word salad and all kind of, you know,
I've been there.
and it's just ridiculous. They just will not take regular read. They are so toxic that it's just wasted breath. I don't even try anymore. I just kind of leave them. It's like those are the lost ones, that there are the purged. Those are the ones that will be purged. And there are a lot of men who understand, who make it. You know what I mean? They are a
Mhm.
few, and there are some that can actually get it. And those are the ones that will transcend and, continue the process of being healthy or whatever. But those ones are, I believe, are just the lost ones. And those were the ones that, like I said, we would have to just pull back and let them fall off. I mean, and it's sad to say, but this toxic masculinity, they're killing each other in the streets too. I mean, the only thing higher than the femicide rate amongst, with the black people is them offing each other.
Yeah.
I mean, there was 6 of us a day, or what, every 4 point something, every 4 hours we're dying. So 6 of us or more a day, we die at their hands. And I think it's every 1.1 hours for them
Yep.
amongst each other. That is
Exactly.
high. So every hour, every 1 hour, another black man at each other at the hands of a black man is dead. This is so toxic. And a lot of that exchange that we saw when the guy had to explain himself away, a lot of that is ego and those small principles that black men have to prove their manhood in. Like I said, a white man well, I got a house, I have a car, I have a job. They have to prove their manhood that way. Black
Right.
men have to prove their manhood in small things like that. No, I ain't no snitch dog. I know, on little bitty levels like that. Look at my
Right.
shoes. I got Jordans. I got, they're proving their manhood in such minuscule ways. No, I didn't say that, dog. I didn't, And then
Right.
then the other men have to prove, oh, I didn't. Yeah, I'm such a. I ain't let him say that, And then, you did let him say that, so I got to shoot him to prove that I was a man. Or you didn't do nothing when he said it. Then I gotta kill him, or I'm a punk. You see what I'm saying? So it's so
Mhm.
many in jail trying to prove their manhood when this is just, then you cancel yourself out and you're really not a man, because now you washing Debo drawers and combing his chest hair. You know what I mean? You canceled
Mhm.
your manhood out and they don't realize it until they're in there.
Right.
And then the whole scheme of thing probably revealed itself when they're in there for 25 years. And they realized that it was all a concoction, it was all a game, and it was all a setup, and all that was fake. But it seemed like they never know that while they're out here, and they won't listen to reasoning from the elders. They don't listen to the elders anymore, and they don't listen, like you said, when you try to talk to them, they just huff and throw all this word salad, and it doesn't make any sense. So until they, I don't know. I don't know how to reach them. I've tried. I'm a reasonable person. I know you can kind of tell that, but I've tried with nephews and people, and just try to have reasonable conversations, but they are so deep in that you can't reach them.
Yeah, it would take a hard lesson and for them to really learn. That's what makes the hood fisherman very rare, because he somehow a light bulb went off in his head, and he was like, I don't like this life. And he got out, and he tried to get out. Quite honestly, I don't know if he's going to unfortunately, I don't know if he's going to be along. The only way he's going to be around longer, to me, in my opinion, because unfortunately, a lot of brothers like to finish the job in the community, if you know what I mean. And
Yeah.
is if he's gone, he just has to leave the community for the rest of his life. There's no other way. You know, it's unfortunate.
Yeah, because you're gonna have the ones that are going to be jealous. Then, oh, he think he all that because he fish. The toxicity is so great, and their egos are so, you know, uh, their egos are so grand, and like I said, and they base their manhood on such trifling type things.
Mm-hmm.
Because they don't have any things of structure to base it on. It's really
True.
nothing, little fly by night stuff that they really base their, manhood on. Little
Right.
trifling things. How many women you got? I screwed that. Their morals are gone. Their integrity, nothing of integrity, nothing of morals, nothing of. And a matter of fact, these things don't contain morals or integrity or anything like this. They usually are absent of those things. It's just the opposite, most of it. And that's the sad part. I mean, these things have been draining our community, and they make them such putrid places.
Yeah.
And they don't see that, but they call us the leader. I want to lead. I mean, they say these things. These sayings are so empty and so baseless. They just say this stuff because they hear it said somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't want to be any of these things. They don't want to hold any of those responsibilities. They don't want any of that. She won't let me lead. And then they want to get with a woman. She gonna think I'm her boyfriend. I don't want no titles. It's like you don't even want the responsibility of calling this lady your girl. I mean, how
Right.
conflicting is that? It's like you don't want to give her a ring. I don't be no husband. Like you don't want no responsibility, but you want all the benefits. It's like, come on, they just go around and round in circles. They don't know what they want, like a dog chasing his tail. I mean, it is just this thing is so large. Our men they need to unpack so much stuff. I don't think it's a landfill on this planet that was, if the black man did unpack his stuff, the whole world would be covered. And we'd have to take stuff out to the black hole in space, and that would get filled up too.
That is so true. That is so true.
It is, and it's unfortunate. But what would help if he would see that. But instead, like I said, he just dumps everything squarely on the black woman and on the white man's back, and says, "Oh, he pointing fingers while he's holding these things festering inside." And I've seen them fester because they're getting worse and more toxic, and it is not helping that they don't purge these things, admit them, and purge. Denial is, they're going to stay on that level as long as they're in denial. That's a process of healing, is denial. And then you go through these phases where you admit it, and it's a stage of healing. But they're staying in denial. They'll never grow as long as they stay in denial.
Right.
They're not going anywhere, and they'll never. We don't see them healing because they stand in denial.
Right. Before you can heal, you have to know that you got a problem.
Thank you. They're not going anywhere. It's just like if you're sick, if you have to know that you're sick if before you go to a doctor, before any type of treatment is determined or your issue, before you even know how to fix it or heal it. So ain't nothing wrong with me, but I ain't going to the doctor. So you won't even know what your disease is, or you won't even get healed. They think nothing's wrong. They sound like I did nothing wrong. They sound just like Donald Trump. Oh, I got
nothing wrong.
and they're all want to vote Republican because they're traditional men, don't want to raise families. None of the babies are theirs. They disrespect all the women. They want to jump around like they're pins or pogo sticks through all the women. And then they want to say they got high body. Come on, these big hypocrites. They are some of the biggest hypocrites in the world. And then they talk about the traditional men. I mean, this stuff just doesn't. And then I don't know. They are some of the hugest hypocrites on the planet. And I don't know if they hear themselves talk. Are they in their own souls, or do they actually in their? I don't know why I said that. We the biggest whores. Do they ever really face themselves and admit these things in the dark and when they're by themselves? And after they cut off their podcast mic, do they ever face the lies that they tell?
Yeah. It's funny to me because I went over to one red pill site. It was called like Conservative Twins or something like that. And these guys had not a conservative bone in their body. I mean, I don't think they really know what tradition for being traditional or being conservative means. It's not only just a political group, it's a way of life. It's like when you're traditional, they call, you know what it is? It's like this. You can see how they treat Russell Wilson. Well, he's traditional. He's traditional. He is traditional. But they want to call him a simp. So basically, a simp is usually a traditional man, because traditional men, from what I know from the back in the past, they love their wife. They put her up on a pedestal. They don't have any problem with that. They don't want them to be submissive and all this kind of crap. They don't want to control nobody. They just want to live a good life. And it seems like there's so many of these men wanting to pretend there's something they're not. They want to pretend they are traditional when they definitely aren't. They want to pretend they're conservative, but at the same time, they want to take risks and fly abroad. That's not what conservative people do. They don't fly abroad, just to go to a red light district in some other country. They don't do that all the time. Now, I'm not saying that they don't. I'm just saying in general, they don't. They want to be seen as high value men with no value, but they don't have any value to women. A high value man, they might have value to other men because other men might want to be who they are, which is who knows what. But to a woman, these guys, they say they're high value men, but everything that Kevin Samuels was, it doesn't help a woman at all. There's nothing that Kevin Samuels could have contributed to a woman, and it would have helped. He doesn't have that in him. The rotation of 6 women, the way he didn't treat his former partners well at all. And so it's like, where's this value that these women are supposed to see in men and him and men like him? So that's the problem I have. And it's the same, like I'm going to be doing a live stream soon on the hypocrisy of this 304 culture, where these men who have way higher body counts than the women they talk smack about, they're calling them 304. It's like, wait a minute, bro, you got 200 times the bodies. What are you talking about? And and that's the one thing. Welcome, Sugar Love in the house. That's the thing that kind of gets my goat all the time, because think about it. there are men that are literally relationship wise, they are undisciplined. They have
And another piece of hypocrisy to that too, a huge piece of hypocrisy with men. They tend to take their cheating like a slap on, they think you should just take it like nothing because they don't develop attachments. They kind of categorize themselves as dogs. Like, oh, we can just throw our pain in anything. There's nothing. But women have developed emotions when they sleep with somebody. So it means something different when you sleep with somebody as to when we sleep with somebody. Okay, so you can't say, that's hypocritical when you say that toward us. If you thought so, we actually cared about you, which means you're deceptive and you lied to us if we slept with you.
Right.
So that makes you more of a dog. If we did open up to you, you're just jumping through us and you're lying and you're manipulative because we actually relieved you if we let you in. So you're making 304s. You're a 304 maker.
Boom. There it is.
Okay, and then you complain about them being one when you lied to them. I know men. I've had men friends, that get with women. Most of my friends are guys, and they say stuff like that. They'll be like, "Yeah, I've only got her." And then when she trying to call me, I don't know what she wants. This and that. After they finally, obtain their purpose, for talking to her in the first place, and it's just like going to throw away like garbage. And I'm like, this is, they are just really, they just look to plant their flag places. This is like a really, the men, their energy is like really bad. A lot of them, most of them, not all. I can say that not all men. There are some beautiful men out there who are really have a great sense of humanity, but they are very hard to come by. They're very hard to come by, but unfortunately, that's why these red pill podcasters are making a lot of money because most of them want to feel, they like to rub elbows together on, how they don't want to have accountability and they want to feel in a safe place to not have any accountability toward women or liking of women. They just want to dog them. They want to feel okay about how they dog them out and how they ain't nothing and don't want to take care of their kids. They want a safe place to rub elbows and say, yeah, they ain't nothing. We just want this and want that. And that is for them to all be on one accord with the hatred of the misogyny like that is just really sad to say. This is a bad thing. The birth rates are dropping. Women are starting to realize this now. I guess because we got the internet and we can all talk to each other and we can this is being communicated so much, and we can see just how much they hate us. Women are stopping having all these babies when we just all isolated by ourselves, and we actually thought they really loved us and all this stuff. This stuff is getting out here now, and women like, look, I'm not stopping going to college and all this stuff for that. Let me get my education. Let me do. So these birth rates are dropping like crazy and people are not getting caught up like they used to. But for somebody to hate you so bad, I say this to my friends. I wish they could really dissociate everything that a woman kind of gives to a man. Like I think Bernie Mac said in one of his comedy specials, I wish they could can it and put it on the shelf where they really didn't have to bother with us. And I would really see how many men would really engage with us. Them would be the men that really liked us for real. If you could can it and put it on a shelf, I would really love that.
That's so doggone true. That is true.
And if some really come to you, then they would really like and really like you for some reason. Because if you could can it and put it on the shelf, then they could go on the shelf and leave us alone. Since you hate us so bad, they can just stop at the corner store on their way home. And then don't mistreat us and don't bother, don't beat us and don't kill us. Just go to the shelf, stop at the corner store and be all right. Because they leaving children they don't like. Hating and not raising, and then they grow up to be damaged goods. And part of what we're talking about now, Look at these people going to jail. These jails are filled. They have reopened slavery. They've repurposed slavery all over again. You know, the only place that slavery is legal is in the penal system. And you got people just they're volunteering to go there now. Their egos are filling these jails. You know, and I try to tell every young person that I get, you're volunteering because you couldn't control your. Well, I had to, can't let them do. Okay, you're volunteering to go back into slavery. Can you just imagine your ancestors sitting there? You know, they coming into that slave house, and they 9-year-old laying right next to them, and this slave master is boning them right there next to, and they can't say nothing. Can you imagine how they felt that they just got to survive this and just wait till the promise of their children to get, and for you to just volunteer to walk back into that? Can you imagine how they flipping in their graves today over some little mess against another black man? Can you just imagine the uneasiness of the spirits that are around here, which are doing this? And this is how you pay them back. The ones with their feet cut off, the ones with the bells hanging around their neck in shame, and all these little boys that got took off to the buck breaking farms and had their things cut off. And all this stuff, Benjamin, what was his name? Oh, they made all the peanut things. That's all he could think about because they had stripped it. In order for him to be in the house, they cut his stuff off. He couldn't do nothing but think about peanuts all day. Yeah. The band said, I don't want anything like that because he know that they couldn't rival the size of them. So they cut his thing off. He made every peanut dish he could think about because his was all gone.
Damn.
You didn't know that.
Wow.
Yeah, he didn't have it. He had to sit down like we did.
That's deep.
That's deep. And for them to just take and bastardize their whole lives when they didn't have any and get done like that, and for them to take it and walk their butt voluntarily like that over just the smallest things at 13 and 14 and 17 and 21 and they're never getting out again over the smallest just because they can control their attitude.
Right.
And don't have any conflict resolution. I mean, we're watching them just self-destruct and getting mad at their girl, rising up, killing her, and her baby didn't want no responsibility, taking them and dropping these babies off bridges, shooting the baby mamas in the face and killing the baby because you didn't want no response. I told her I didn't want no baby, and you killing her. And then you go to slavery, like, just go right back. You get to milk cows and pick cotton and be this massive slave. And then at night, Debo get to rub you up. You know what I mean? It's you trade freedom for that. Yeah, you might have had some child support come off your family dollar paycheck. It's an uncomfortable place to be, but you pick slavery instead.
Yeah.
I mean, these things are not making sense. They're letting their ego just poison their mind. You know what I mean? But when they get amongst their friends, see the male ego, they rub their elbows in these toxic masculinity spaces. And it all makes sense there. Like I was telling you about that word salad they put on each other. Oh man, I would never do that. I would never do that, dog. All that jibber jabber. For some reason, it's like music to their spirit, and they get like zombies, and they be in there. And when they end up in jail and they don't hear it anymore, that music of the sweet sirens, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That pull them into the rocks on them islands and make them crash. What they say in them Greek stories, the music of them sweet sirens pull them in. Next thing you know, they be crashed and burned in that jailhouse.
Yeah.
And mama ain't there. She be sending some commissary. But we tried to tell you, they probably hear her every word. Why they be putting asking mama to send some preparation H. Send 2 or 3 boxes. But serious business. You know what I mean? I mean, and it's sad that they learn too late. But we need them. You know what I mean? We do need them. I'm not a misandrist. We do need them. But if they hate us, they are an enemy to us. If they are killing us, they are an enemy to us.
Right.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. Can you imagine the force we would be if they had done the same things, if they would have ascended, if they had got degrees, if they had stuck in there, if they had, if they would really be men like white men are to their families, like Mexican are to their families, as, Asian men are to their families. If they had stuck to us with their trials, they survived the Holocaust and did, and what they did to the Chinese, and they paid them off, but they stick with their families and they immigrated and came. And if the black men had stuck to their women, like all the rest of the groups did, we'd be a force to be reckoned with at this time.
Amen to that.
If they
That is
had
the
done,
truth.
and stuck together and rose and did the same thing and on the same level that black women did, we'd have more. The Mexican vote and all this stuff got more prop and everything than we do. We've been here longer. We'd have had more respect than they did if we respected ourselves. But since we don't respect ourselves, we stayed at the bottom. And Mexicans coming here immigrating, and they got more respect. And they respect the Hispanic vote more than they respect the Asian vote, everything more than they respect ours, because we are not respecting ourselves in front of the world. And it is the fault of our men, and they will not accept it. They throwing it on our back and the white man back. And to hear them do it, it just, until they step up and take accountability, this will not change. Until they suck it up and just go on and take that hit like a hard shot of liquor and go on, take it to the chest and start to heal, nothing is going to change. It won't. That's the only thing that's going to stop this, is them going to take accountability. And I don't see it happening. It's like the pitch is going higher and higher and faster. It's like they just gonna blow up one day. I don't see them. I don't see them stopping. Do you, DJ?
No. Mm-mm. I know firsthand that's not going to stop. They have no control over their own emotions.
Some of them are waking up. You got some that's jumping ship.
Yeah. And that's what they need to do. The ones who are waking up, they need to jump ship. Because if they stay in there, somebody's going to either force them to or they're going to convince themselves to go back to regress. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. You only got a few. There's some men that are waking up and realizing, or respecting their mothers, or respecting the elders, or they looking at the writing on the wall and seeing what's up and seeing how toxic those men are, and they just not down. Like, y'all toxic over there. No, not going. Or they're doing the math and saying, no. They're not doing with y'all. Just like the Lincoln Project. You know what I mean? Those people are Republicans, staunch Republicans, but they're not going with that Donald Trump stuff. Like, no. See, not going. So it's kind of the same thing over here. I don't know what you would call that collective or that group, but they're not red pilling. They not definitely no simps or whatever, but they definitely not red pill. So they respect women, but they definitely not on that level over there. I guess they should get a movement too and be their own, but they don't. And that's the part of it too. They don't defend themselves against those types. It's kind of like the same thing that we were talking about in the neighborhood and the stuff like that. They don't defend themselves against the toxic men. And I think we've talked about that when we used to watch Cynthia G and stuff like that. This topic always comes up. They never attempt to defend against that toxic man. It's like they're scared of him. And no matter what setting he comes in, they don't confront him. Like we were talking, I saw in the comment, the R. Kellys, they just sit there and sing Kumbaya, or they look at their feet and play with their fingernails or something. They don't even raise their eyes up. They don't say nothing. Say something. The man is the defense against another man. Why, the women can sit there and scream. They don't listen to us. We're not on that level. Why don't the men stand up and say something like, look, bro, you're wrong. Why isn't that voice there? Why do they just sit there and be quiet?
Damn good point. Bars.
That's a lot of the problem. And I don't know. That's what I'm saying. And since it's like that, this is what really leads me to believe that most men are toxic, because if most men were not, they could trump them out and shut them up.
Right. That's my point
Yeah.
too. That's my point too.
Yeah.
It's like they always want to say there's good men out there. Then it's like, well, if there's good men out there, why aren't they jamming up the bad ones then? If there's
Yeah.
so few Pookies and Ray Rays, as they would say, right? Why
Mhm.
can't you guys straighten those few out if there's so many good black men out there?
Mm-mm. It has to be the opposite. It has to be the opposite. And these guys are always complaining about these women. If they really wanted a subservient woman or something like this is another big thing that I look at on those platforms. Why don't they get them a woman that work at Family Dollar or something like that? If they complain about you can't make more money than me, go get you a woman that work at Family Dollar then. If you make $30,000 a year, you would be her king. She would love that. And she would praise you or whatever. No, you try to get a woman that makes 60 for you, always reaching up, and then you complaining that you can't be the man. You would be the man to a woman that work at Family Dollar.
Yep.
Cook you biscuits from scratch every morning. She would tell everybody about how wonderful you was making your $30,000. She would do that. It just doesn't make any sense. They always reaching up and then they complaining. Or they always they holler about they don't like weaving eyelash, but all they baby mamas got them and BBLs. Like the hypocrites, like everything they say is so hypocritical. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
I
they want
mean,
a traditional woman, but they're the first ones over to Nelly's channel to try to date an IG chick. So yeah.
yeah, man, those OF pages is just, men and women don't need for nothing. You hear me? They got mansions and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. They stay on there, but they complain about them all the time. Look at even the guy on what Froggy and whatever they call him, faking Froggy or whatever, got him one. He talked about him all the time. Got him prego. I mean, got her prego, and he didn't even. But they talk about him all the time and talk about men how crazy they are for messing with that kind. Talk about their body counts, talk about women bad. And that lady said he took her to meet his family, meet his mother. He was sprung.
Right.
And then he impregnated her.
And then wanted to dump her because of it. He was like through with her. That's the weird part.
Just like any degenerate man, they just you know what I mean? The pump and dumps, you know what I mean? It's like they don't value women. It's like we're starting to realize this now. They really don't. They're just like animals. And that's what I'm saying. That's a low value energy. It's not an energy of life. It's not an energy of of really humanity. That's very animalistic. To just go after physical cravings, it really doesn't have to do with any of the soul or the energy or the beauty of the person or anything like that. It's this very, it's just like a dog running and smells some heat or whatever. That is so primitive, and it's nothing to respect. And they just sitting here barking like they somebody. I mean, it's just really nothing to respect at all. And to know that this is an element that we've been dealing, this predatory, energy. This is what we've been dealing with for so long. And then we've watched them, like I said, we watched them victimize themselves with it too, with their egos, with each other. They got to be the one that, grandstands and chest beat the hardest, you know what I mean? On the block and all this stuff. And we watched them, all right, Tanya Sweat, I see you. So yeah, the one that beats his chest the hardest, and then I guess if you can't beat it hard enough, you got to get a gun and then kill the other one, and then but these penal systems are making a lot of money. There's no jobs or whatever. I don't know if they count the jobs within the penal system. They say, oh, Joe Biden created 30,000. Are these jobs within the penal system? And we got a lot of black people filling them. And then they privatized all the jails. So it's private industries that are making money off the penal system. They used to belong to the government. And then they sold them all off to private entities. So private entities are running their companies inside of these jails. So it's really modern day slavery, like really all over again. And private entities are profiting off of their black bodies. I remember you used to be able to work a job if you wanted to or not. Now you have to work inside of jail.
Yep.
hmm They took
So
away them weights and all that stuff like that because you used to be strong when you got. They took away all that stuff. You gonna work for the
yeah,
man. So you back in slavery, like for real now. And like
it-
I said, it's such a sad thing for them to not to be blind of this, to just be so blind to just walk into it, because they just have to chest beat and huff, and that's their ideology of manhood and what it is, and they can't forego it and see the whole picture, and they get trapped up into it so frequently every day, every 1.1 hours, they get trapped up look into it. And along with it, every 6 hours, every four point some hours on the other side with us, with the women there, they're getting trapped up in it. I mean, and not see this when it's happening so frequently. They're like a deer caught in headlights. This is a psychological problem with them too. It has to be. There's no way they can't. It's so blatant. Why aren't they seeing this?
yeah. I mean, it's not like it's undetectable what's going on. It's and all they have to do is just stop doing bad things and start focusing on building. And you can, if they really want to stick it to the man, that's the best way to do it.
Thank
But they don't,
you.
you know, if that's the
None
best
of
way to
this is
do it.
hidden, DJ. None of this is hidden. I haven't like probed some kind of FBI files and look at none of this
Right.
is hidden. So this is what I'm not understanding. I'm not speaking anything that is not common knowledge. I mean,
Yeah.
with all the research they've done on weave and eyelashes, this is something that they can speak about on their platforms. Why don't they try to educate the men and say, look, if we try to beat them all the time and do this, we shouldn't do that because we taking each other out. Or, there are no educational talks for each other back and forth on them being smarter about their approaches to life. Ever.
Right.
They're
Right.
always attacking women
Yep. That is so true.
because the world is recognizing that black women are actually, ascending. Throughout, we have the same struggles. Matter of fact, we have the patriarchy against us. We are female and we are black, so we have a double, standard against us. But we are at higher levels of black men in a lot of different aspects. So they're trying to tear us, make sure the world is not looking at us that we worse than them, and they're doing everything to drag us down and make the world look at us like we're worse than them. So they're fighting real hard to destroy our image to make us look like we still under them. So that's why they claiming patriarchy and yeah, we family. I mean, they are trying so hard to make it look like, oh, it's them. No, we trying. I mean, it looks the desperate flailings of these creatures.
Yeah. I mean, crabs in a bucket. Crabs in a bucket.
It is. I mean, just look at it. I can't do nothing but just shake my head. I know, women, if y'all listened, this has got to be incredible for you to just listen to. If you listen to them rant and rave about it, they can't, in good conscience, sit there and just, like I said, when they cut these mics off, when they're alone. I mean, if they're just not totally conflicted in their spirit, then they are minions of the devil or something. They have to be.
Mhm.
There's no way they in good conscience can be a full human and not be totally torn up in their spirit with the things they say and really believe it, unless they are retarded, or I mean, I don't know, that's not a word anymore, or something's is mentally defected in them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Welcome to the stage, Tanya Sweat. How you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm doing fine, DJ Torch. Hello, panelists and everybody.
Hello, Tanya.
Yeah, I'm going to impart with some wisdom that my dad told me at 17. He's no longer here. And he had to put like down a whole bunch of lessons before he passed away from cancer. But this is what he told me about the crabs in a bucket situation. He said, never be the crab, be the bird that eats off the bucket.
I hear
Because
that.
the crabs are going to be plentiful trying to get away. You might miss a few crabs. Think of them as those dusties that be on the corner spreading their words. But there's still a whole bunch of dusties left for you to just gobble up. That'll solve the hood situation real quick.
Well, those are great words, Tanya. Bars.
Yes, yes. That's a good one.
That's some advice you can use, courtesy of myself and my dad, the late Vernon Sweat.
All right.
He knew what world he was leaving his daughter in, because, you know, it's the ones that they go after that they think they can manipulate, that don't have that familiar protection. And when he passed away, I was surrounded by uncles and older cousins that took up where he left off. So that game couldn't be played with me, and it was always protection. But they go after the ones that don't have that type of protection in their life, and they make it a sport to break down women that think like me or any other rational thinking woman that got their stuff together, to bring them into the 304 thing so they can say, yeah, I got her there. You know, I put her on, she's on my roster. This educated woman that's working at this corporation's on my roster. And, you know, they take that as a victory. You can't get paid off of it, but they take that type of thinking and toxicity as a victory. Not, yay, I got the promotion. Not, yay, I got my degree. Not, yay, I'm actually doing something for my community. They take things like simply breaking down another person or scamming another person as their capital. But you can't trade that BS on the open market. I don't see NYMEX trading toxicity on the market unless it's nuclear power. And that's a whole nother game, but they don't even control that. They don't even have a percentage in the waste. So, you know.
That is so true. Well, everybody, I guess it's time for me to get some dinner before it gets too late.
Yeah, I'm trying to cop a hamburger myself. I don't feel like fixing it, but never mind.
Oh, yeah. It's been a wonderful show.
Yeah, I'm glad I was able to jump in there. It was a good one. See you later, y'all.
Okay. Thank you, Tanya. Wise Sick and Knowledge. Thank you for dropping all your knowledge. I'm going to, if you don't mind, I'm going to have to make a remake of this. I'm going to have to, clip you up there and put and put some of your words of knowledge out there. More people need to listen to you.
Oh, wow. I'm flattered. I'm not a good speaker, though, but I do tell you, I'm very, I feel a lot for us in our community. We in a sad state right now. We at crisis level. We need to wake this thing up. I really feel for us in our community. I don't know what to do, but we need to do something. We are a beautiful people. We are original people. If we don't slap ourselves and get out of this, I really feel for us. We need to bad. And if we don't work this thing out, our demise is like imminent.
True.
So we do need to talk about this. And I'm glad you have a platform, DJ. I'll be here whenever you call me. I'll give you my email.
Sounds perfect. Hey, look, anytime, if you want to hold a live stream yourself, you let me know. This platform is here for you.
All right. I'm scared. Well, we'll talk about it.
Because you say you're not a good speaker, but you're a good speaker. Okay. You said, okay, wait a minute. You said you're not a good speaker, and I will agree with that. But I will say that you are a great speaker. So if you want me to, I'll agree with you saying if you're not a good speaker, you're a great speaker. So that's that. I mean, that's it. That's all. I mean, you have always spoken very, 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 very well. So I think you're just being super modest, but You've always had some great things to say in the chat. You always had some great things to say on mic. I appreciate you coming up.
I appreciate you having me. And I'm already dancing. We're going to drop the beat, right?
We're going to drop the beat. You got it. Here we go, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. All right. Big shout out. White on stage. Tanya Sweat on stage. Love.
I'm addicted to the good life.
Movies.
Yeah.
Diamond. Oh yeah. And that's more Negro.
No need to say where we are heading now, babe. I follow to the edge of it all. To the edge of it all. So tell your good night, 'cause I'll find no better one, yeah. Susceptible now, before the moment flies. Ooh, so tell your good night, 'cause I'll find no better one. Susceptible now, before the moment flies. It's not a problem, 'cause I know what I'm getting
Shout out to Jackie Gaines. And lifestyle guy.
Nothing can stop me, 'cause I'm addicted to you, and I realize. Lead the way, I follow. No need to say where we are heading now, babe. I follow to the edge of it all. So tell your good night, 'cause I'll find a better one, yeah. Susceptible now, before the moment flies, before it flies. So tell your good night, 'cause I'll find a better one.
All right, everybody have a good Friday night. Got a show tomorrow too, though. Thank you. Good love. You too. Everybody, Love Channel 2. See everybody tomorrow.